Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Dave's Faves, number 366. Yes, no, 67. There we are, because we did leap year. That was 366. Then I owe you two. And I remembered why. I owed you two because I repeated the disc Tangazzo, since it was available on two different labels. It was on Argo, then it came out on Australian Eloquence, and I wanted to talk about it either way, so I did it twice, but So I owe you one of those, and also because I think I repeated Beethoven's Fifth, just because I wanted to. Because the first one that I did, the Zell live one on Orfeo, isn't available, and I felt really guilty. Now, tons of this stuff isn't available, but I don't feel guilty, so you're going to get two more. So here's 367, and boy, is this different from Tangazzo. I wanted it to be different. It's the golden age of English polyphony on Hyperion. Oh my, I have so many faves I could do. This is an amazing box of, let's see, 10 CDs featuring the 16, conducted by Harry Christophers. This is all a cappella liturgical music from the 1400s and early 1500s, mostly early, up through the 16th century. This was the golden age of English polyphony, and it features composers Robert Fairfax, John Taverner, John Shepherd, and William Mundy, something like that. Now, what makes English polyphony different from continental polyphony? Well, first of all, what do we mean by polyphony? We mean, of course, liturgical music. For the most part, Catholic liturgical music and settings of the Mass. And, you might say, oh gosh, 100 million Mass settings. Well, that's like saying 100 million symphonies or 100 million concertos. The medium of choice for art music in those days was the Catholic Mass, the Mass propers, Kyrie, Gloria, Credo, Sanctus/Benedictus, Agnus Dei, Dona Nobis Pacem. It's the equivalent of a symphony, formally speaking, because that's what composers wrote when they wanted to work in large forms, and it's really the only kind of music that was preserved. And even then, it wasn't always preserved so completely, because the rest of the universe of music was either, little dance sniglets, little instrumental dance thingies, or songs. Songs like we have today, songs. That was it. That was the world of music. And of course, there were other shorter liturgical pieces. There were motets, there were psalm settings, there were things like that. But if you were a serious composer and you wanted your music to survive, you wrote for the church. And so that's what we have. Now, English polyphony is wonderful because it has a certain floridness, an elaboration that's really quite affecting, and very high treble parts. Really beautiful, soaring, what we associate with music that is, transcendental or something like that. Really, really thrillingly beautiful, virtuosic top parts. And that makes the music have a very distinctive sound, just as symphonies by one composer have a distinctive sound versus symphonies by another composer. There was a genuine English liturgical style, and that's what's celebrated on these 10 Hyperion discs, which are all just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. If I want to go and do highlights, they may not mean much if you don't know the repertoire. It's like, oh look, it's Taverner's Missa Gloria Tibi Trinitas. Whoa. Well, that's not going to get you anywhere. You have to listen to it. Or the Western Wind Mass. They have titles because a lot of these pieces are what they call parodies. In other words, they took a pre-existing work, and it could be a secular work, or it could be a song or something, a tune, or it could be another liturgical work, and they incorporated them into the melodic and contrapuntal fabric of the Mass setting. And that at least gives you a title. You don't usually hear the actual work that is being borrowed because the tune is usually set in very, very long notes against polyphony and moving parts and all the other parts, and there could be anywhere from 3 or 4 parts to 5 or 6 parts normally. So it could be very, very intricate, and it's always very, very beautiful. but we have Robert Fairfax, Missa Albanus and Aeterne Laudis Ilium. Lilium. Doesn't that sound fun? And we've got John Shepherd's. He also did a Western Wind Mass. You see, some people use the same tunes over and over again. And William Mundy, who wrote there's no mass settings here. There's Vox Patris Celestis, which is a major, big confabulation of choral polyphony. Anyway, all of the music is extraordinarily beautiful. It's very well recorded. This was a wonderful series. It introduced me to this music over the years. I mean, I had no access to it or way to really understand what it was until these things came out with very, very good notes, which, by the way, you get in the box. Hopefully it still exists. I don't know. Well, here are all the texts. And you get very, 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 very good notes, which tell you what's going on and why. And it's beautiful. An absolutely beautiful thing. And if you can't get the golden age of English polyphony, then just look for Harry Christophers and the 16 doing Fairfax, Taverner, Shepherd, or Mundy. And you're in business. And do not confuse the Renaissance composer John Taverner, with an R, who lived from 1490 to 1545, with the modern composer John Tavener, who is one of the most awful composers who ever lived. That is a terrible mistake. He also wrote mostly liturgical polyphony. Well, not polyphony, but, never mind. He sucked. So, here you go. Number 367 of Dave's Faves for this is my guilt for duplication talk. So keep on listening, friends, and enjoy your English polyphony. Take care.